everybody? Welcome back to BodySlam.net's YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, all the things. Jose Gonzalez here, bringing you yet another predictions panel for this WrestleMania weekend. This time we're switching it up and doing a little bit of NXT action with Stand and Deliver happening tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm excited for this one. And then joining me is another special guest. I mean, this woman is quite literally everywhere. Let's run down the short list. We have Wrestling Inc. We have Instinct Culture. We have, let's see, why am I escaping this? Like, I used to have
Wrestle Zone and a wrestling gal.
Yes. The one and only Ella J, everybody. Ella
Hello.
J, happy WrestleMania week.
I am fantastic. I do have to say, Stand and Deliver is at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, so I'm glad that it's afternoon our time, but I feel bad for the talent that have to show up at like 5 a.m. Pacific.
You know what? That is a good point for you saying 10 a.m. Pacific time, because I almost was thinking I'm watching wrestling at 10 a.m.
No, it's at 1 our time.
Hoofda. Can you tell it's been a while since I've had to do NXT pre-show coverage on a WrestleMania week?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, all things considered, I'm excited for this one because it seems like it's going to be a pretty big Stand and Deliver, all things considered. I mean, pretty much every championship is on the line aside from the Heritage Cup Championship. I mean, not the worst thing in the world considering the fact that we have championship implications in all but one match to begin with. But before we get into any of that, I did also want to remind you all that this is a sponsored stream today by Shroom Bar. So this week's podcast is brought to you by Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. It's made up of not psychedelics, but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it'll actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system, and we all know y'all need that on those nasty-ass gym mats. On top of all of that, it also has 12 grams of protein. So go to eatshroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at checkout for 25% off of your first order. Thank you so much, Shroom Bar, for partnering with Body Slam throughout this WrestleMania week. But yeah, definitely hit them up if you need a little pick-me-up to get you through all this weekend's festivities. I know I need a pick-me-up because keeping up with everything has proven to be a full-time job in itself.
Literally.
I was going to say, I can only imagine for the woman to my right that's actually doing this as a full-time job herself. So I'm sure never a dull moment this week, huh, Ella?
Oh, never. Except maybe Sunday morning when I'm actually having Easter dinner with my family, or Easter lunch, I guess, with my family. But yes.
Yeah, the rare occasion where Easter also falls into this crazy week that we call WrestleMania week. But you know what? Mm-hmm. So be it. It is a beautiful spring day over here in Buffalo, New York, where it was nice and cloudy and then rained a little bit, but it was in the upper 60s. So, I mean, is this LJ weather or is it a little too warm?
What is it? Upper 60s? Yeah, it's a little too warm. Lower it to like just about 60. Then we're good.
Okay, good. You know, always have to make sure. But, I mean, before we even get into the main card for NXT Stand and Deliver, we do have a pre-show match. A novelty these days. It's not too often you see a pre-show match on any WWE PLE, let alone the fact that we have one for NXT. And this one's an interesting one because we have a number 1 contenders match. So we have fatal 4-way action in the tag division for the Women's Tag Team Championship. So we're going to see who is going to face the WrestleMania victors this coming Tuesday on the NXT after Stand and Deliver from Las Vegas. So we have Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend representing Metaphor. They're going to be facing JC Jane and Fallon Henley representing Fatal Influence versus Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan versus the newly reunited, albeit apprehensively, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. So this one has all the makings to be a pretty fun way to get the show started. Hello, Randy on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Ella, what are you thinking about the possibilities that this Fatal 4-Way has?
So going into this, like as of 2 days ago, I was all in on Tatum and Gigi because I believe Liv and Raquel are retaining the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. So they're heels. So I was like, they're going to face a babyface team. So that automatically eliminates Fatal Influence and Perez and Cora Jade. Metaphor kind of lean both ways. I feel like they're kind of tweeners and it's not really that clear. So automatically, like for me, like the obvious choice would have been Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. However, I can't ignore the fact that 1 week later we have the TNA Rebellion where Metaphor and Gigi and Tatum are competing in a contenders match. Actually, they're competing for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. So there's a possibility that either Metaphor or Tatum and Gigi could be the number one contenders and lose, but then also win the Knockouts tag titles. So it makes it a little bit more complicated for me because of TNA Rebellion. So I think because of that, because I don't foresee either team becoming number one contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Titles at the same time that they're competing for the Knockouts Tag Titles. So and it's not going to be Fatal Influence. So I
Who's
think
also booked for action at TNA Rebellion.
Yeah, so I think by process of elimination, it's going to be Roxanne and Cora. I think this is going to be Roxanne's NXT send-off. I think they'll win, but then once they get to the actual women's tag team title match, I think Cora is going to betray Roxanne again and repeat history and kind of send her off then to the main roster. So initially, I was leaning Tatum and Gigi, but given TNA Rebellion and the potential complications, I'm going to go with Roxanne and Cora.
I mean, that is a good prediction. Also, hello, Astrid. For those that missed it yesterday, Astrid joining me for WrestleMania 41 predictions. That VOD is live on YouTube. I feel like TNA having that fatal four-way for the tag titles, for the Knockouts tag titles, that is, at Rebellion, definitely threw a wrench in this one.
Yeah.
For the life of me, as cool as it would be to see, I don't think we're going to have the women's tag champions from WWE show up on TNA.
Yeah.
Would it be awesome to kind of have that as a notch under the belt? Absolutely. But I mean, at that point, you have arguably the bigger tag team championship. Why are you also going after the Knockouts tag team championship? Yeah. So, I mean, your logic was pretty much sound from the jump. So I do think we're going to see Roxanne and Cora walk away with this one as Roxanne's final Stand and Deliver match. Honestly, the bigger surprise to me was that Cora was not involved at all with the North American title picture, especially considering the fact that we're going to have another big ladder match. Cora's done those extreme matches. Obviously, her being War Games MVP in her previous years in NXT.
They might want to be safe and sorry, though, with her because of her knee.
I mean, true, but I mean, I feel like, if anything, there's not really much for Cora Jade left to do in NXT either. I mean, we've seen them as, I don't want to say the final tag team champions because they weren't the final NXT tag team champions, but we think about the fact that they have that history there. Both of them want out because they know that they're getting slapped on in NXT. I feel like they're going to win the match. There's a very good chance that Roxanne and Cora could also win the tag team championships, and that's going to get them to the main roster. And then you can worry about brand specifics once they lose the titles. But I feel like if you're looking at women that are ready for the call-up right now, those two are the ones that I could see having some immediate success on the main roster. Just kind of seeing where they go from there, if they're going to actually reinvigorate the tag team division as a whole in WWE, because it's been very stop and go. Especially considering the fact that you had a makeshift tag team just sweep an entire gauntlet match to become number one contenders for WrestleMania. With two people that were just facing off a couple days prior for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. So, I don't know. Maybe some fresh meat in the women's tag division can do some good. So, we'll see.
So. We'll see. I personally think Cora would turn on Roxanne again. I think there's more for... I can agree with half of your statement about them being ready for the main roster. I think Roxanne has been more than ready for like over a year now. I still think there's some things that Cora can do, whether that's going after the NXT women's title like on her own apart from Roxanne or what. I still think there's some story there for Cora in NXT. But Roxanne in my mind is more than ready. But I think this, by process of elimination, because of TNA Rebellion, I think Roxanne and Cora are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, technically, even if they do win the tag titles, they don't necessarily have to be called up to the main roster.
That's true.
They just circle all three shows. And then once they lose those titles, it'll probably be around draft time, assuming that we have a later draft this year, considering we have like that transfer window. That could be how you get a Roxanne going up, but Cora stays in NXT kind of thing going on. So the possibilities are endless. But speaking of possibilities, there is a possibility that we might be disbanding a beloved faction in NXT because we have some six-man tag team action coming up on the main show with the D'Angelo family going against Dark State. After this past week on NXT, we got to see that brawl in the parking lot where Luca and Stax were basically taking the initiative, trying to get the jump on Dark State. Didn't really work out in their favor. Tony pulls up and he takes out Dark State. He's talking about getting the cops there, where Stax is like, no, they can't be here. Like, no, I called them. They're on our side. But what the hell's going on? Because Stax is starting to act on his own instead of acting with the Don. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that dynamic plays out and everything, too. And it's also going to be interesting to see if Adriana Rizzo is going to be in any peril at all, just because of the fact that there's not really a woman's presence in Dark State. So if that factors into how things play off in the end, I'm very intrigued by that. I feel like, given the circumstances, though, you have to have Dark State win their first PLE match.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
if they're like the new hot thing. Like, you can't just
I agree.
immediately cost them. But that's just my quick take on it. Ella, what do you have to say about this one?
No, I also agree. It's their, they came, was it Vengeance Day that they like officially attacked everybody? So they're still very new. I think you're going to want them to look strong. Maybe, like you said, maybe there could be an equalizer on their side, and the female side, maybe they'll call up one of the LFG people or Evolve, or maybe it's somebody that we've seen before, and I don't know, maybe it's a Dark Wendy Chu again. Who knows? We'll see. But I do agree it should be Dark State. They're the new kind of hot faction, kind of running all over everybody. I don't want I don't want them to be like an unfortunate other faction on WWE and main roster about 5 years ago that didn't do too well. That we won't name. You want them to start off strong, and I think a win over the D'Angelo family. Tony is already a former NXT North American champion. I think it would be
tag team champion as well.
Yeah, I think it would be a solid win over some people who have some stake and credibility in NXT. So,
yeah, I mean, only time will tell to see if the D'Angelo family gets some retribution.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it.
You know, it happens, but yeah, no, I feel like this should be. Do you think that's going to be the opener, or do you think they're going to just go straight for the gusto with a title match?
No, I think it's going to be the NXT Women's North American title again.
Well, I mean, funny that you say that, because let's just get right into that. Mm-hmm. We're not new to this. We're true to this. Another 6-woman ladder match for the vacant NXT Women's North American Championship. And what a field we have. We have the inaugural champion, Kalani Jordan, going against Zarya. Going against the new WWE Women's Speed Champion, Sol Ruca. Going against Lola Vice versus Izzy Dame of the Culling. And the newly returned Thea Hale. This should be a pretty fun ladder match. I'm excited for this one. Some names in there that I will be honest, I did not expect to see in this ladder match. But you know what? I feel like it's going to be a good testament to see who's hungry for this championship, especially after the way that it kind of got treated with the whole double champion thing, which is what a lot of us were afraid of when Stephanie beat Julia to win the NXT Women's Championship. Is she going to do a Keith Lee? She did. But I feel like we are suckers for a ladder match at a WrestleMania weekend. I feel like this is going to be a good way to get the crowd invested, start off the show hot. I don't know who's going to win this one, actually, which is interesting because I had one prediction, and then SmackDown tapings happened last week, and my prediction might be changing. I'm going to let you start with this one, Ella.
I'm between 3 people. SmackDown. Oh, are you talking? I mean, that's already aired. So they already aired that.
Saying, like, okay. This time last week, I had a different thought before the speed match happened. Is what I'm saying.
Got it. Yeah. So I'm between 3 people. I have you alluded to it. I have eliminated Sol Ruca from this. I think she'll do great. Ladder matches, she can do a lot of cool spots like we saw, and she competed in last year's. But considering she's the speed champion and she's also like in a tag team, I don't foresee her winning this because it kind of complicates things. I think Kalani Jordan is a solid choice to be in this match. I think it's maybe too soon to already have a 2-time. I don't foresee Izzy winning. Not that she can't, but she hasn't been as prominently featured as a lot of the rest of these girls. And she still has some faction stuff that they can do with her, I think in the Culling, I think they're called. So for me, it's between Zarya, Lola Vice, and Thea. If Zarya was not attached to Sol Ruca right now, I would I would maybe probably lean towards her more because she came into WWE with a lot of hype. But her and Soul are still very much kind of going full force as a tag team together. So I think if she wins that, again, it kind of complicates things. So I'm going to take her out. So then it's down to Lola and Thea. I would love for it to be Thea. But she just came back. I don't really know what angle they're going to go with her. So I think I'm going with Lola Vice because she's won a lot. She's had a lot of like she's had NXT Underground matches. She's wrestled for the NXT Women's Championship. She was the breakout star. She's been pretty prominently featured over the last year. And
that
even
hardcore match that she had at the
ECW
arena.
And even on the occasions she's lost, she still has looked strong. So I think it's time for Lola Vice. She finally gets that official notch she's going to win in a title match. So I think it's going to be Lola Vice. But I could also see it being Thea Hale because she just came back and you want her to look strong. Maybe you're going in a new direction for her post Chase U. But I think now's the time for give Lola Vice some gold. Have her finally win, when it counts.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to go one of two ways, where it's either going to be someone that we've seen in NXT as a fixture finally get that breakthrough moment, or it's going to be one of the hot upstarts going to come in and they're going to just take over. So as it stands, I know you mentioned the whole logic of the tag team of Sol Ruca and Zarya. I feel like, if anything, I think Zarya might be the one to get it. Because if you think about the fact that with all the signees that happened over the last year, 2 out of the 4 of them have already held the NXT Women's Championship. Yeah. One was also the North American champion, and she also vacated the title. That leaves 2 opportunities for the other 2 big signings to walk out of Stand and Deliver with gold. Now, Lola Vice has done a lot of stuff. I mean, we mentioned NXT Underground, the hardcore match she had with Jada Parker, the takeover, or not the takeover match, wrong era. That PLE match that she had with Roxanne Perez for the women's championship.
She beat Shayna Baszler too,
Yeah, she beat Shayna Baszler, beat Natalya. Like, she has these big victories under her belt. It's just a matter of how that's going to translate into a ladder match where she's so used to being a killer with her hands. So true. That, I feel like it's either going to be Lola's able to overcome everything and she walks out finally as the North American champion, or it's going to be Zarya. And I'm going to go on a wild card limb here. I'm going to say it's going to be Zarya, simply because of the fact that it's not unheard of to have a singles champion as part of a tag team or a faction, because look who was just down on NXT a few weeks ago facing her partner.
Yeah.
So, and also it's going to be an interesting dynamic of like how the already strange Bedfellows can adjust to having one championship with them. Because who's to say they can't still pursue the women's tag titles? I mean, clearly that's not stopping anything this Sunday. So
true.
But yeah, I mean, I'm going to say on a limb and new North American champion Zarya. But of course, not to be outdone, I mean, we do also have the men's NXT North American Championship. Speaking of hot new signees, you have Ricky Saints, the leader of the Revolution, going against All Ego Ethan Page. And this is an interesting one because not only do we have a little bit of lore from AEW way back when, but we also have the fact that Ethan Page is currently advertised for TNA Rebellion in a triple threat match for the TNA World title. I feel like if there's an opportunity for someone to walk into that match with more gold, it's Ethan Page. However, Ricky Saints is undefeated since coming over to NXT. I mean, you talk about the fact that from his debut to winning the North American Championship has been, what, maybe 5 weeks? If that
4. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, we talk about just someone that's been ready for so long to finally get a chance to go. And he's shown exactly why he was the hottest free agent the second he got let out of that contract. So I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to go, because we've gotten to see like the promo work between them. Obviously, it's been good. We got to see Ethan Page win that fatal 4-way this past week to determine the number 1 contender, and he walked out victorious. I'm very curious to see if they treat the North American Championship as, I don't want to say hot potato, but like not every reign has to be a long one to have meaning. And I mean, if you're going to have like someone be a foil to Ricky Saints' hot shot run, who better than the person that only captured the NXT championship in about 6 weeks from his debut, and also going back to a promotion that he left many years ago to become more successful and try to win their championship as well. I am probably going to be in the minority for saying this because
there's only two of us.
No, I'm saying of like wrestling fans in general.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say and new North American champion Ethan Page. It's controversial, but I feel like it could happen. Go ahead, Ella.
I realize, well, technically we're gonna have a new champ no matter what because you have the NXT Women's North American Champion. But I think it's too soon. I honestly think Ethan is already ready for the main roster. To be honest,
oh, so, I don't disagree, but still.
I could foresee him being called up in a in the draft, assuming there is one. So in that case, like if Ethan wins, like, and then the draft is like 2 weeks later, as like that's 2 back-to-back very short reigns, which I don't like personally. I think it's too soon for Ricky to lose it. So simply for that, I'm going Ricky Saints, and I don't want him to lose. I think it'll be a great match, but I don't think they're gonna stop his momentum right now. You know, they have that history. I think maybe this is even. I don't know. I just think Ethan's ready for a call up, and maybe this is one of his last NXT matches. Although main roster people go back to NXT all the time,
but simply But I mean, not to interrupt you either, but we've also seen that sometimes being main roster ready does not a main roster run make.
True.
Because think about who got called up last year.
Yeah.
And has kind of been circling the drain, so to speak, which is really disappointing considering he main evented last year's Stand and
Deliver. I know.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's like the cynicism in me. It's just like, I don't think Ethan's going to get called up right away just because it feels like right now NXT is very hot to the point where it's like, I don't think you have to worry about going up to the main roster like you used to unless like you've truly outgrown it. Like a Roxanne Perez, that makes total sense for me because she was there from the 2.0 era onward. Like she's seen NXT like rebrand itself almost 3 times in her time there. And we've gotten to see her in the Elimination Chamber in Royal Rumble going very far, feuding with Bayley as well. That was a match that everybody thought could have been on WrestleMania. I feel like in Ethan Page, I kind of want to see him stick around NXT a little bit longer because you don't have to have him drafted to get called up to the main roster. Let's keep that very clear.
True.
It's also a way to have someone that like not only could be like a great foil for whatever program you give him, but it's also like if you're going to have this partnership with TNA going on too, let him be the one to walk back and forth the most. And if they're finally going to maybe think about if someone from NXT is going to win some TNA gold, I mean, Ethan Page is a former TNA World Tag Champion. Why not let him have an opportunity to maybe capture some TNA gold and go back and forth with that?
And also, I forgot that you mentioned TNA gold. Again, the week after Stand and Deliver, he's wrestling for the TNA World Championship. Yep.
And that's so I don't think with Chris Arian and Joe Hendry.
I don't think they're gonna have him walk in as the NXT North American Champion. For me, I mean, I don't expect him to win the TNA World title, so I guess that doesn't really matter. But I don't expect him to walk in with another title and then go for another title. So also because of that, I'm going with Ricky Saints.
I mean, to be fair, we have seen title changes happen, like more or less for the sake of appearing on a PLE before, and then they lose the title shortly after. That Zach won's X Division Championship reign going into that match with Wesley. But I mean, I think we're split on this one, which is, can I also just say, I like the fact that we have differing opinions for stuff because it doesn't always happen this way. A lot of times we are pretty much like neck and neck with what we're talking about. So it's not me trying to be contrarian. Like, I just genuinely feel like they might have the balls to have Ricky Saints lose the title right away, but it could also make for a very interesting program of like, maybe he was a little too much to begin with. Like, not to knock him down a peg, but like it'd be interesting to hear his take on like, okay, I came in full guns blazing and now I'm out of my ass. What now?
That lineage would also be crazy, going from Shawn Spears to Ricky Saints to Ethan Page. That would be absolutely crazy.
But I will say, whoever probably loses this match, you could put towards the main event picture. And
if Ricky loses, like, why? I feel like he'll still circle Ethan for a while. Like,
I'm not saying it has to be like literally the next show, but I could totally see them like playing into like, okay, there's other opportunities to be had in NXT. Why not? So
I think that'll be Ethan in that case then. But I rest my case.
Fair. We do also have some tag team championship action. Fraxium, who's fine, by the way. They are going to be defending those NXT Tag Team Championships against Hank and Tank, who won their number one contenders match the other week on NXT. Is it bad that I really don't think that Fraxium's going to lose the titles? And that's probably going to be why they end up losing the titles, because like every other match where the odds have been stacked against them, they always find a way to prevail. But now you have a young upstart team who's like the complete opposite of everything that they've faced thus far, including losing to the Hardy Boys for the TNA World Tag titles. Maybe this is where we find out where Fraxium is not fine.
I don't think so. I don't know if you recall last year, but NXT has this tendency. I've noticed a pattern where they will have people, champions, retain at Stand and Deliver, but then lose the titles at spring break or like 2 weeks after or 3 weeks after before the draft. So then whoever that is can be called up to the main roster. We saw that last year, I believe, with Trick and Ilya. Then Ilya got called up, where Ilya retained, I think, at Stand and Deliver, then lost to Trick at Spring Break, if I'm recalling correctly.
Well, to be fair, Trick was also not in that match to begin with.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But regardless, Ilya retained at Stand and Deliver and then lost it to Trick at Spring Break, if I'm recalling correctly. And we also had the tag titles last year. Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin retain at Stand and Deliver, but then lose them like a couple days later or a week later. And obviously Braun was called up and all of that. So they have this tendency where they'll retain at Stand and Deliver, but then they'll change the titles like a week or two later. So that's what I think is going to be the case with Fraxium, especially because we've been seeing them a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but lately we've seen them on WWE television, especially against Rey Fenix. And so I think they're ready. I think they will be called up in this draft. So with that in mind, I think they'll be retaining here. I don't think they'll be losing to Hank and Tank, but I think they are going to lose, whether it's at spring break or maybe the NXT after. But in regards to Stand and Deliver, I think they're retaining.
Well, here's my other token. It's just, what have we not had in like years that would be so refreshing to have happen?
I don't know.
A true call up on the Raw after WrestleMania. The Raw tag division needs tag teams. Even if you don't split up Fraxium, if you have like a surprise win for the young upstarts and then you immediately have them go over to Monday Night Raw and try to go for the world tag titles, they're already legitimized because you have them who've reigned for almost a year, if not a year. I could look up the numbers if we want to get specific, but also having those matches, defending their championships on TNA programming, challenging the TNA World Tag titles. I mean, regardless of if it's going to be the War Raiders or New Day that walks out of WrestleMania as the World Tag Team Champions, they need to start building some heat over there like SmackDown has. And I feel like Fraxium is a perfect way to go about that. And plus, when was the last time we had like a true like shocking win at a Stand and Deliver with like a younger talent getting a big moment?
I don't know.
I don't know. This is just my thoughts on this one. Again, not trying to be contrarian. I feel like it's just the sheer fact that we've been so like prepared for Fraxium to lose the titles over and over and over again that now where it seems like, oh, they're not going to lose the titles. They are. So I'm going to say, and new NXT Tag Team Champions, Hank and Tank. And then we start to see some new life into the tag division because we're going to see more combinations of teams. Whether Hank and Tank holds on to them long or not, that remains to be seen because I could totally see them like, oh my God, we won the titles. Now what? They lose them no quarter catch crew or something. But like, I'm just saying the possibility is there. Obviously, if this match is happening, there's always a possibility that a championship can change hands. I am assuming that it might, but that is just me. Again, I could be totally wrong. That is what it is. But we cannot be outdone because, I mean, we have two heavy hitter multi-person matches for some championship gold. We're going to go straight into what I think should be the main event. I wish it was the main event. I understand why it probably isn't just based on what the actual main event is, but we have a fatal four-way match for the NXT Women's Championship. We have our champion, Stephanie Valkyrie, defending against the former champion, Julia. defending against Jada Parker, defending against the juggernaut Jordynne Grace, and what should be a very interesting fatal four-way given the components that we have here. I will say I'm more surprised that Jada Parker is in this match and not the North American Championship match, all things considered. I mean, good for her for getting this opportunity. I feel like she's the person I least expect to walk out of this match with a championship, though.
I can agree with that.
Now, the $1 million question is, we've already seen a short NXT Women's Championship reign. Do we see another one? Ooh.
No.
All right, give me your logic, Ella.
So, like you said, I don't foresee Jada Parker winning this because, I mean, not to take her nickname, but I feel like the other three are juggernauts, especially in this match. So I think she's maybe there to take the pin, to be honest. And there's reports that Jordynne Grace's NXT run is not expected to be long. So this is kind of just temporary. I don't know when she's supposed to officially go to WWE's main roster, but I would imagine that they wouldn't put the NXT Women's Championship on her if it's, and especially strong. I don't think they would make her have a short reign, considering she's not expected to be there long. They want to keep her strong, and I think kind of having a short reign hurts her a little bit. What was the point of Julia losing it if she was just going to win it back like a month later? So for me, this is probably like the second easiest choice on the card. Stephanie McHare all the way.
So you ask yourself, what was the point of Julia losing it to win it back a month later? I'll tell you what. Who has beaten her twice for championships literally a year to the date, damn near? Stephanie McHare. Who left the championship that she won that same night and stood face-to-face across from her at Vengeance Day? Stephanie McHare. Stephanie McHare's been feeling herself a little too much. I feel like we're going to see a more physical side of Julia, more akin to what we got to see from her in Stardom and Marigold. And I could see Julia getting the pin on Stephanie McHare and winning the title back. Or you have Stephanie pin Julia for a third time, and that starts the descent into madness. I don't think Jada's going to be involved in the decision. I don't think Jordynne's going to be involved in the decision. I feel like Jordynne is overdue for the main roster. It was kind of a surprise to everybody that she went down to NXT when she did. But, I mean, her getting lost in Mania season does nobody good. I feel like you talk about the possibilities of having some strong faces on the main roster. If you're going to have those new mid-card championships, I could see Jordynne Grace on a Monday Night Raw going after the IC title. I could see her on SmackDown going against a former foil in Chelsea Green for the United States title. Or I could see her going straight for world title stuff because she's that damn good. So I think there's a lot more for Jordynne to do on the main roster than there would ever be for her to do in NXT, which is no shade to NXT. I feel like Jada Parker still has more time in NXT. I don't think this is her moment to capture the gold yet. I feel like if anything, if Lola Vice wins that North American title, her versus Jada for that title has a very compelling program with their history.
Yeah.
So it's just, ooh. I think, I'm going to say, and still NXT Women's Champion Stephanie McHare. And this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back because she's going to pin Julia for a third time. And now we get to see Julia go complete, like, madness mode. I want to see, like, the braids come back. I want to see her, like, literally ruthless. I want to see her destroy this division. And then once she has, like, that level of dominance and aura, like, very much like Asuka, like, circa 2017, I want that Julia to finally beat Stephanie McHare and give her a loss in NXT for that championship. So
I also think it's counterproductive to have her give up the NXT Women's North American Championship and then have her lose the title that she kept like 2 weeks later. So also for that, because that would just be insanity, like I have to go with Stephanie.
I mean, it could be for the sake of hubris. I mean, if you
would be like, oh my, I don't like that at all.
But
if they were to do that,
this whole program has been built on the idea of I'm not satisfied with just this. Like, if I came here, it was for this, so I'm gonna do everything in my power to get this. And once I have this, this is gonna be my sole focus. For Stephanie, the North American Championship was never about holding a championship in NXT. It was always the stepping stone to the NXT Women's Championship. So regardless if she's a babyface or a heel, She's using that level of like smug cockiness because she knew the aura that she had coming into NXT after that banger that she had at Forbidden Door, where like they literally signed her within like a week and a half of that match, and she dropped everything from CMLL and moved over. That is the level of cockiness that I want to see out of Stephanie Vaquer. Booker T doing his Booker T-isms when she does the scissor stomp, like all that. And then for her to have a moment where it's just like, damn.
Oh my God. That's also because, you know, Jordan's like, she's herself on Twitter. I think Jordan would volunteer to take that move from Stephanie. Now that I'm imagining that, Jordan, I could absolutely raising her hand right away and volunteering to take that move.
Or you have Stephanie do it to Julia and Jordan do it to Jada.
Oh yeah, that would be fun too.
Yeah, no, we know the NXT roster gets freaky. Love that for them, but I feel like we're gonna see Stephanie's gonna retain the championship, and then as in the fallout from Stand and Deliver, we're gonna see Julia snap, and that's gonna
like
make
I'm here for that. Yeah, especially if you're theoretically losing a Roxanne Perez soon, like Julia stepping up as a major heel would be great.
Yeah, and also I kind of see what the next NXT PLE is. I forgot what's after.
I think it won't be a PLE, but there'll probably be spring break. That's normally in like 2 weeks. But also, I mean,
like, we have Battleground on May 25th.
Early June. Oh yeah.
So.
No, last year it was early June, like June 9th or something.
No, they already announced Battleground.
Oh, they did. Okay, never mind then.
In Tampa because they're doing Saturday night's main event.
Oh yeah, doing,
that's right. Battleground on that Sunday. So. Yeah, very interesting to see. I don't even know if we're gonna get a spring break and with how
because it's kind of late. Yeah,
because
it'd be around now actually.
Yeah, but alas, that leaves us with just one more match to talk about. We have our main event NXT Championship match. Thank you for the likes on Facebook, by the way, guys. If you are enjoying any of this, make sure that you're either following Body Slam on our social media pages or you're subscribing to the YouTube channel so you are not missing out on this whole weekend of WrestleMania coverage, because we have 2 more big post shows coming Saturday and Sunday after both nights of WrestleMania. Ella J's going to be joining me tomorrow night for night 1 along with Al from the Sunday special. So I'm excited about that. But first, in his second main event, back-to-back for Stand and Deliver, we have Trick Williams challenging Obafemi as well as Javon Evans for the NXT Championship, and what should be a very fun clash of styles for this match, because you have the super high flyer versus the brawler versus just the sheer powerhouse that is Obafemi. Also, can we shout out NXT for the representation on this card?
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest criticisms that we've seen with the WrestleMania card is just, especially, there's just not enough black representation. To have a main event this strong, I'm all for it. And the fact that you have the person who was Mr. NXT for well over a year, the hot young upstart, and then just the man that took NXT by storm. Because you think about last year at Stand and Deliver, Obafemi having that huge match when he was still North American champion. Like, that was one of my matches of the year. That being my first NXT show I've ever went to. Holy crap, was that a good match. And then you have Trick Williams, who overcame the odds last year, finally getting that win on Carmelo Hayes, then finally becoming NXT champion. And we got to see both of his NXT championship reigns kind of just like him getting lost in the sauce a little bit, because you have like that surprise loss from Heatwave when he wasn't even pinned for the NXT championship when Ethan Page won it. Then you saw their CW debut, he won the title back, and then just kind of this moment now where it means everything to him to get it back, where he doesn't care who he hurts or who's in his way. Then you have Javon Evans, who's been underestimated, undersized for so long. The youngest person to be on a PLE main event for NXT, I believe is what they said when he was main eventing Heatwave. The stuff that he did with Ethan Page, losing his smile and everything, the jaw wired shut, and then just Obafemi going on a tear in NXT, in TNA, defending the title against Moose at Madison Square Garden. Just everything that you could want from an NXT champion, Obafemi's been delivering on as well. So I don't know exactly who's going to win this one.
Oh, really?
I mean, I could see going one of 2 ways, but I'll let you describe what you think's going to happen. I'll go for it.
Trick Williams has done basically, I feel like, all there is to do for him in NXT, I guess. Besides, I don't think he's been a tag champ. Have him and Carmelo did they win the tag championships? I don't think
remember.
So. I don't
think he really needed it to, because the whole thing was he was the North American champion for like a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Did he win? No, but he won the Iron Survivor match.
Yeah, I knew that. So I guess besides like tag titles, I feel like Trick Williams has done basically all there is to do in NXT. But also like Braun, I also felt that way about Braun Breaker, and then he had a whole other run as a heel, and then turned babyface into this amazing tag team run with Baron Corbin. So who's to say there might be still some stuff left in the tank? But I don't like if he's going to do that though, then I think he has to get away from the NXT championship picture. If there is anything for him to do left, I think it's without the title, and maybe he has a fire lit under his ass and maybe he turns heel or finds a tag team partner. I don't know. But for right now, I think he's done everything he can in regards to the NXT championship picture. It would be cool to have Javon Evans win. But like I can't bet against Obafemi. For me, this is the most obvious one in my mind, like easiest one. I have Obafemi retaining. I think Trick has done all he can in the NXT championship picture. I think Javon is great. And it's awesome that he's having this opportunity, but he's definitely not pinning Obafemi. He would have to pin Trick Williams then, and then maybe that actually sends Trick into a further spiral. That would be cool. But I can't bet against Obafemi.
So here's my thing, is I feel like Trick is going to be the one pin regardless.
Mm-hmm.
The $1 million question is, do we think Trick is involved with Dark State? Because in all the attacks and everything, we really haven't seen them go after him at all.
Possible, then. I didn't even think of that.
I mean, that, depending on how that goes, I could see that being the big question here. But, I mean, overall, Obafemi is so dominant. I feel like if they're not going to have any other surprise wins on the card, then have Javon win by pinning Trick. That'd be great. I'm going to say, and still NXT champion Obafemi, though, because I feel like it'd be very interesting to see what they have planned for him after and who he can bring up to that level, just because of the fact that I don't think he's going to the main roster anytime soon. But it is very curious to see if there's going to be like any other like big signees coming in, or if there's going to be
returns.
Yep, returns, debuts. If they're gonna do something where maybe we see what ends up happening with Dark State, and like one of them goes after the NXT.
Maybe that's it. That's the path that I was mentioning. Like I want to see, like he could still do stuff with, like he could still have an NXT run, but it needs to be away from the NXT championship. It could be him leading Dark State. That could be it. And just like, terrorizing the locker room. That could be it. It just he needs to get out of this.
Going to win the title, but I'm going to say that he might be involved with them, and he's just going to be the mastermind. And then
that gives him something to do. Yeah.
If it gets him to a title for a third time, great. Mm-hmm. If not, maybe he's the brains behind the operation. He makes sure that his other men get gold. So you might see like a Saquon Sugars win the NXT championship or something. You might see like a combination of them go after the North American title, the tag titles. Like let them have an Undisputed Era moment where they're holding all the gold. And then you have Trick Williams go up to the main roster. Actually, wait, no, because I feel like Trick on the main roster, I don't think it would work as a heel. You need him as a face.
Yeah, and it's too soon for Dark State to go up.
Oh, no, Dark State's not going up anytime soon. Yeah. It's just kind of the whole, like, you think about the aura that he has with that whoop that Trick entrance, it's just, come on. Obafemi's going to win. He's going to retain. Yeah. And then whatever happens afterwards. But we have officially count down every match for NXT Stand and Deliver. What do you think is going to be the match of the night, Ella?
The Women's North American Championship ladder match.
I'm going to say the Women's Fatal 4-Way.
True. There's some juggernauts in there.
Well, it depends on if you want like what's like more wrestling or if you want like the crazy spots of a ladder match. But
true.
Either way, people are going to be leaving that show talking about the women's division going into WrestleMania. And that's going to be the big buzz for the rest of the weekend. But that will conclude everything we have going on here for predictions. Ella, what do you have going on? Just in general. It doesn't have to be just this weekend, but even beyond that, if you have other stuff to plug.
Well, I'll be back here, my God, tomorrow night. Crazy. Or I guess it could be early Sunday morning, depending what time it is. But yeah, I'll be back here tomorrow night for the WrestleMania Night 1 post show with you. Honestly, I'm just need to get through WrestleMania week first. I can't look ahead really past that. Need to get through WrestleMania first. It's gonna be a fun but crazy next couple of days. Then we have the Raw after WrestleMania. Then we have actually my next day off is not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So like the last 2 weeks working straight are going to be difficult. But we do it for the love of the game, so I can't complain much.
Yes, make sure you send all your Diet Cokes to Added J. So,
for real,
fountain, can, she doesn't discriminate. Or do you?
No, the only carbonated drink I will not drink is root beer. The rest I'm cool with. Just no root beer.
Even a LaCroix.
Yeah. Yeah, I like LaCroix.
Ooh, interesting. I always picture you more of like a sweet, like seltzer person, not just like a dry seltzer.
Yeah, I could go like soft drink wise though. The only thing I won't drink is root beer. The rest of the pop or soda I'll drink.
Well, you heard it here first. No A&W sponsorship anytime soon, but
nope.
I mean, I will be back here again tomorrow and Sunday for both nights of WrestleMania's post shows. Obviously, LJ joining me with Al tomorrow, and then Sunday we have, you saw him in the chat earlier, JPJ Loves Gaming, as well as Peggy, aka Ophelia Payne, both new members of the Hive Media. Interesting to see what they're going to have coming out this spring and summer, but as always, stay tuned to everything at bodyslam.net for all your WrestleMania week needs. As things are coming out, you're going to see articles popping up. You're going to see videos popping up. You're going to see live streams popping up like this one. So make sure that you guys are sticking around, and we will see you guys on the next show. So take care, everybody.